Hello. Respond to Deconverted Man. He put out a survey. Objective Ethics wanted me to address them and to also spread the link around for folks to take a look at the survey and maybe participate if they really can. So, of course, I'm going to do my part because, Objective Ethics is my guy, man. That's my dude right there. And Objective Ethics is also going to be a host on my channel, and he's going to be joining us every first Saturday for each month as his schedule allows. And so one of the things that we're going to do is support each other. We all have different kind of views. We don't agree on everything, of course. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and form this alliance, man, and try to build our community. And I'm so grateful for Objective doing this. So it's my pleasure to go to Deconverted Man's YouTube channel and answer the questions on this survey. So hey, Deconverted Man, I hope you see this soon and you can address it. Hopefully it's going to help you for what you want. I'm doing this as a favor, but also to maybe open up a pathway to future debates or anything like that. So I'm going to email this to you, Deconverted Man, this link to my channel here in this particular show as it addresses your question. So let me just get right into it, man, and not waste too much time. So the first question there, one of the questions there, let me pull it down. Jesus. I made a big old long thing because I'm going to be reading it. So, are you a naturalist? In a broader sense, yes. I'm a naturalist in a very broad sense. I see nature as a collection of physical objects, but as the total field of our of experience itself, the unfolding of consciousness itself. Everything that exists is part of nature. But nature includes mind, meaning, awareness, not just matter. It also contains um, objective ethics and things of that nature as well. These things form our appearances in our minds, and many of them differ. Many of them, but they're all part of that same reality, right? So um, I'm an integrated person. I'm a non-material naturalist. So reality is natural, but consciousness is fundamental on my view. And of course, I don't want to go into all that right here. I just want to get through your survey. So are you a materialist? No, of course not. Materialism would assume that matter exists independently and gives rise to consciousness as a byproduct. I think that assumption is inverted because experience is the only thing we ever have direct access to. Even matter is known through perception and interpretation within consciousness itself. So I see the physical world as an appearance within mind, not the cause of it. Okay? Is there a difference between materialists and naturalists? And if so, what is the difference? Yes, and it's a very important one, I'd say. Materialism says that everything is ultimately a physical substance. So this is a metaphysic. Naturalism says everything is part of nature, meaning subject to lawful regularities and not supernatural. That's what it means. So you can be a naturalist idealist like myself if you think consciousness follows natural laws and evolves, but isn't reducible to matter. So I'm a naturalistic person in method, but not materialistic in my metaphysics. Has Richard Dawkins said, wrote, influenced your deconversion if you had one? Um, yeah, I deconverted from being a Christian many years ago. And I guess Dawkins' influence would have something to do with it because it's more about intellectual integrity. His insistence on evidence, coherence, and rejecting dogma did influence um, my own personal approach to religion. So he had books like The Selfish Gene or The God Delusion, And all of these things sort of encouraged me to ask whether my beliefs really reflected reality or really just some sort of cognitive bias I may have been engaged in and not know it. So I diverge from his metaphysical assumptions. I think consciousness cannot be reduced to blind physical process, even if evolution explains our biological form. So that's the subtle difference there that I have with Dawkins. I do care about what Dawkins has to say. How much do you care about what Dawkins says? Um, of course, quite a bit, but I'm critical. Like, Dawkins is a brilliant person at articulating evolutionary reasoning, exposing bad arguments, and I value that clarity. At the same time, I think he overextends scientific realism into metaphysics. So, assuming that because evolution works mechanically and mechanistically, that must mean that reality itself must be purely mechanistic. So, I respect his contributions, but I maintain a different ontological lens. In other words, I'm kind of like Donald Hoffman. The reality that we perceive it through the interface display of our consciousness. It's like an interface to the outside, external, objective world that actually does exist, but it's illusory. And so we have tools like science to better understand this interface. So he's studying the interface, he's studying reality at the interface level and connecting the dots. That's how we understand evolution. Everything works, makes sense within its framework. But every good theory will define its limits and its constraints. And evolution, the evolutionary game theory, has constraints. Evolution works, it describes, it's coherent, it describes reality, what's going on, what we see, connects the dots, is backed up by convergence of evidence. So I believe that it is a very rational explanation for what's inside our interface. But that's what it is. It's inside the interface. Metaphysically, that interface emerges from something deeper. That's what I believe. What does atheism mean to you? To me, atheism or atheist simply means a person who doesn't affirm the existence of a personal supernatural deity. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're denying transcendence or consciousness itself. You can be an atheist, yet deeply spiritual, metaphysical, or contemplative, especially from a non dualistic or pantheistic frame. These are sort of atheistic descriptions of spirituality. What do you think the word atheist means to other atheists? Well, for most atheists, I think it means freedom from religious dogma, the right to think for oneself using reason and evidence. Many use it primarily in contrast to organized religion rather than a like complete metaphysics or philosophy or worldview. It's basically a response to a singular claim. Okay, so it's not a description of your political views or your metaphysical views or your spiritual views or psychological state. It doesn't say anything about that. It's just the rejection of a belief. And so we have what do you think the word agnostic means? So for me, agnostic means epistemic humility. And I appreciate anyone who is an agnostic. In fact, I am ultimately an agnostic. You could say I'm an agnostic idealist in a way, you know? So I'm comfortable with that. I think consciousness is the ground of being, but I hold it as an evolving insight, dogma. Hold on a second here. Yeah, I just had to close the window because my cat was trying to crawl out. Can't have that. So, what do you think the word agnostic means to believers? So, believers may see it as sitting on the fence, like a refusal to commit, but to me, it's often a sign of intellectual honesty. What do you think the word agnostic means to agnostics? Well, agnostics generally mean uncertainty without apathy, not I don't care, but I don't know, and I take that seriously. That's what that means. What does the word skeptic mean to you? Well, a skeptic is someone who questions claims until there's good reason to accept them. So true skepticism isn't really cynicism, it's disciplined curiosity, and it's not hyper skepticism either. I'm a skeptic of both religious literalism and reductionist materialism, for example. Those are my critical things that I focus on. I'm a skeptic in that regard. What do you think the word skeptic means to other skeptics? Good question. They usually take it, I guess, as kind of like a badge of rational inquiry, maybe, like valuing evidence, critical thinking, and freedom from superstition and stuff. And that, I guess that's why I'm a skeptic and why I like people who are skeptical. I love having conversations with skeptics. I love when skeptics really challenge my own beliefs and my own worldviews because we all engage in some sort of cognitive bias at some point, right? I'm not immune to that. I'm a human being just like everybody else. And so my beliefs deserve to be rigorously questioned. And sometimes I lack maybe the questions themselves. Maybe I don't, there's things I haven't thought about. And believe me, I read a lot. I look into a lot of stuff to try to debunk my own beliefs, but sometimes other people are better at it than me. Maybe because I'm biased, maybe because I want my beliefs to be true. And this is the same thing that I charge like religious people with. I say, maybe you just want to believe your most cherished beliefs because it's comfortable. I don't mean to engage in psycho and analyzing people, but it is what it is. Um, what do you think skeptic means to believers? Well, believers often view skeptics as closed minded or believing in everything. But real skepticism is the opposite. It's being open to any claim that can stand up to reason and experience, right? So I guess in summary, you could say that I'm a naturalist who believes all of nature is the expression of consciousness and intelligent processing in nature, not something outside of it. Even though you can maybe split reality into different domains, like, the quantum realm is different than the classical Newtonian physical realm, right? And the laws of physics at that level of quantum mechanics doesn't apply to physics after wave collapse and into the classical world, for example. But it's all holistic in my view. I don't, I believe that that's just a reflection of our concepts. To make sense of the world, we use language to sort of parse things out and define things. And so our language is limited, and so our reflection of reality is going to be limited, right? We're just basing it off what we observe within the interface of consciousness. We don't have direct access to the metaphysics behind the appearance, but we can at least do inference. We can do transcendental meditation to maybe get in touch experientially with this sort of oneness. You can try hallucinogens, that will get you into that space. And you can study quantum mechanics. If your thing isn't experiential, you mainly book knowledge or whatever, then read books. There's a lot of books, science books, on the unity theory of reality. Like say B theory of time, for example. Everything exists, everything, past, present, future, all exists in reality. It's all equally real. This is sort of contradictory to our experience of reality since we all observe time passing and we have evidence like, thermodynamics and how we go from order to disorder through the passage of time. We all get old, for example, our cars break down, entropy, you know, all of those things converge on the idea that time passes. and that this is a reality we all have to face. But on another perspective, time doesn't pass. The past, the present, the future is all equally real. You know, it isn't like the past is no longer real because it passed. Now it's just the present, and the future isn't real because we still haven't got there yet. That's the intuition. It's kind of like free will. You may think that you have free will, but free will, like some sort of libertarian version of free will, just doesn't really make coherent sense, right? But it may be true at some other level, some other viewpoint, but it seems by all indication that we don't really have free will. We're kind of on a ride, you know, or ultimate free will. I'd say that, we live in a unified reality. And so what we're going to do is already mapped out for us. We just don't know it. And so it gives us this illusion of pieces in life. That's just my belief. I may be wrong, but it's based on evidence and things that I notice in my own kind of worldviews, but I could be wrong. Anyways, I think I've covered all the questions, and hopefully you get this deconverted man. I'm going to email you this link to this video, and other people can chime in and leave comments in the comments section if you have any other thoughts about it. And until then, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much. And please like and subscribe to my channel, The Mirror Point, where we discuss these sort of topics every Saturday on a live stream call-in show where we can debate and discuss these sort of ideas, right? And we also do other videos from time to time throughout the week. So like and subscribe so you can get all this content that I have to offer to you guys. It's my gift. Thank you.